Okay, guys, I'm showing the top of the hour. So hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Brandy Havens. I'm a core faculty member in the Forbes School of Business and Technology, and I'm delighted to be your host for this session. Now for attendees, microphones will be muted for the presentation, but I encourage you to post all questions and comments in the chat. If we have some time at the end of the session, we can address those questions. Also, keep your eye on the chat for a survey link where you can provide feedback on today's event. Now it is my pleasure to welcome our presenter, Mr. Oscar Lewis. Oscar holds an MBA from Georgia State University, as well as an honorary doctorate from an institution in the UK for his work with the International Financial Regulatory Standards. His accounting and finance career spans more than 40 years, and he has been teaching online courses for nearly 20 years. Oscar has presented at numerous conferences, including the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the Institute of Management Accountants, the Global Risk Management Conference, the Society for Human Resource Management, and the Association for Talent Development. Oscar's also quite the sports enthusiast. He's hosted a sports talk radio show, umpired baseball games, and refereed both basketball and football games at levels ranging from the little leagues to the minor leagues. Oscar currently lives in South Carolina. He's married with 4 children and soon to be 14 grandchildren. We are thrilled to have Oscar in the Forbes School of Business and Technology, and we are delighted to have him presenting today. Please join me in welcoming Oscar Lewis.
Hello, hello. I'd like to welcome you out this afternoon. Our first slide simply is my glory page. However, I'm going to say it's easy to be humble if you've been an umpire because your mistakes are pointed out all of the time. Even your non-mistakes are pointed out. Our objectives today: how do we help students to achieve the balance between school, home, and work? How do we factor in the pandemic? What exactly can we do for students, and can we do more? Is assessment a factor in balance? And finally, is balance even possible? Or is it a myth that we have been led down the path to try and achieve? First quote comes from a former vice chairman of Coca-Cola, who said, "Imagine life is a game in which you are juggling some 5 balls. Work, family, health, friends, your spirit or your psyche, and you're trying to keep all of these in the air. Work is a rubber ball. However, the others are glass. The rubber ball will bounce back. The glass balls may shatter, but at least they'll be scuffed or damaged in some fashion. Therefore, to achieve balance, you've got to realize that. Throw school in there and you have another ball going. School is more of a rubber ball, however, than a glass ball. Time is what we want most, but what we use worst. William Penn said this back in the 1600s. So you can tell we've had our share of experience trying to learn to deal with this. And then Alan Lakin, who wrote the book, How to Get Control of Your Time in Your Life, said, time equals life. Therefore, waste your time, waste your life. Master your time, master your life. So here's what it can feel like. Well, welcome to the seminar on work-life balance. Here are various priorities you need to juggle: family, work, exercise, vacation, must-dos, medical, and so on. You have time for 3 things. Work and holidays are 2 that are mandatory. you get to choose among the list for the third. How do we do this? First of all, we need to set priorities. Not everything we have to do is a number one priority. Things have a pecking order. We need to do the most important things first. Track your time. Management consultants will tell you if you are trying to get control of your time, track what it is you're doing with your time. You will immediately find ways to improve because you'll see things that are wasting your time or taking time that are low priority, and you'll get back on track. Concentrate on doing one thing at a time. Schedule one thing you look forward to each day. In my case, I play a online golf video game, and that's what I look forward to. Respect your private time. When you have set aside time for yourself, make sure you follow that. Don't answer the phone. Don't do other things, get interrupted. Take your private time to recharge. Look at your general lifestyle and your personal habits. Are you doing things that can affect you and will make you sluggish and where you waste time? Ask for support. We always have a support group available. Set boundaries on your time. Learn how to say no and evaluate your balance on a regular basis, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, but always look at how you are using your time. So how can we do some of this? Well, setting our priorities. There's what's known as Pareto's principle, or the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions, and the converse is true. 20% of your results come from 80% of your actions. It's a way to view your time usage and prioritize your chosen task. Focus on the 20% of activities that produce 80% of the results. Habits and lifestyle. There's procrastination to battle using the 4D system. Delete it. What happens if we choose not to do the task at all? This is a chance to use this 80-20 rule. Maybe what we're doing doesn't need to be done in the first place. Delegate it. If it's important, is it something that you really should be doing, or is it something you can pass on to someone else? Do it now. Postponing an important task has it hang over your head, causes anxiety. Do it as early in the day as you can. And the last is defer. If the task is one that can't be completed completely and or quickly and is not of a high priority, set it aside. Take care of yourself. This is again under habits and lifestyle. Take time for yourself mentally and physically. Do it every couple of hours. Get up, move around. If you're at a desk, if you're getting tired and sluggish, take a short break and refresh yourself. And try and eat more than simply comfort food. Learn how to say no. All right. If you get a request from someone, those tasks may be important to that person, but not important to you. So try and negotiate some time that maybe you can't do this now, but I'll have it for you in 2 days. It's always good to be a team player, but it's important to know when to be assertive and let people know when you can't handle their request right at the time they're asking. And negotiate that deadline where they can achieve their goals, but not while you have to sacrifice your own. Electronic time wasters. This has to do with setting boundaries. We have distractions that interrupt us. Facebook, Twitter, any kind of social media, emails, messaging. Why don't you set these into a batch and say check with them once an hour and give yourself 10 minutes and look at them, answer the ones that are important, get back to the task. This way, you're not interrupting something you're doing every minute or so to answer a text. How can we do this while dealing with the pandemic? We've all experienced this since March. I'm going to tell you the week they shut down travel was 6 days before my wife and I left for our dream vacation of 3 weeks in Normandy, France. We were going to see, yes, World War II invasion sites, but William the Conqueror was from there. Joan of Arc was burned at the stake there. The Bayeux tapestries there. So there's all kinds of things we wanted to do. Like I say, this was the trip of a lifetime. And what happened? We got shut down. You've got to be able to stay positive. And you need to remember, no matter how disciplined and upbeat you are, you will get feelings of despair or something will interfere with your positive feeling. You know, that's just life. One of my good friends is in the petroleum industry, and he had been let go in 2015. And in his despair, he actually considered if his family would be better off without him. Well, no, they wouldn't. So you need to fall back on your support group to help you stay positive and build yourself up. Recall something positive, a good memory, a time when you were happy. Focus on the positive, never on the negative. Ultimately, the pandemic will end. Some people are saying since the election's over, now the pandemic's over. Don't think it's quite that easy yet, but here's hoping. How can we help students? We need to talk about balance in class, early in the class, and especially with online students. New online students are the most vulnerable. They aren't used to the pace, and it can really come as a shock to them. So you need to help them and provide guidance on this. It helps to have a website to study. I've listed one right here. There's other in the references at the end of how you can approach this with your students. And remind students to take time to work with the support team, spend time, be nice to them, thank them each day. And I will say, one thing I always do is encourage students to walk at graduation. It's not so much for them, although it is a wonderful achievement, as much as it is for the support group to see that all the hard work you put in and that they supported is now has that end result. Now, assessment. We all have grading to do, and it doesn't matter if it's our own grading, it's things that we're graded on. For example, we have to have our discussions graded by the Thursday following the week, and the assignments by Sunday following the week, and also final grades turned in the Sunday after the class ends. I've had students before who have not gotten an assignment in and seen a grade of 0 and gone, well, you agreed to wait. And I said, well, I can change your grade, but I'm graded myself. I have to get something in. And if it's a 0, we can fix that when the time comes. But you've got to have something in that slot. Life gets in the way. I had a student this week, I'm sure many of us have, that was affected by the hurricane that just came through the Gulf area and up through Tennessee and the Carolinas. We have things all the time. We need to be aware of those, and we need to respond to them. I will say something here that isn't the letter of the law, but I do think is in the spirit of the law. And that is, if a student is supposed to have work in by midnight and has it in at 12:06, is that really an issue? I mean, are you that hard up that you have got to be reading them right then? I like to understand why things are late or why they might not meet the word count exactly, but be extremely close, or the page count, whatever the count is that we're expected to do, just to make sure and not obsess over it and nitpick it. Always encourage students to communicate with you about issues. Technology issues come to the forefront, but other issues. There is nothing I find more disagreeable than a student contacting me in the last week going, well, I've got a B, I need an A or I'll go on academic probation. Well, it'd have been helpful to know that right up front so that we could work together to make sure that the work you're doing is a level. If it's not, you can't catch up in the final week. And so students who communicate with you are the ones that are showing to me more of an interest in what's going on, and therefore I'm a little more prone to work with on these things. And always be aware of weather events, whether it's the wildfires out west, earthquakes, hurricanes, you name it. We have weather events because we are all over the world. Finally, is balance a myth? You know, I don't know if anyone remembers, but there were commercials in the 60s and even early 70s about uh, the woman of the house who worked. She brought home the bacon, fried it up in a pan, and was able to do everything. Well, we know we can't do everything, but we can do some balancing to get in as much as we can. And we can't compartmentalize everything. Some things are related, interrelated, and we have to be able to take time with it all. With priorities and boundaries, we can better achieve this balance. And that is what our priority should be. And never, ever forget to take time for ourselves. I will open the floor to some questions. Also, here are some of the resources I mentioned, some sites that are really good to discuss this with your students.
I, for one, thought that presentation was phenomenal and very helpful. I love the 4D system. I think I've actually heard that one before, but I can tell you I struggle with using that system. But after being reminded of it, I'm going to make a point to try to use that 4D system, because I think, like most of us, I know I struggle with work-life balance. So these were some great tips that you shared. So thank you so much for that wonderful presentation.